We're live. We're live. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello, hello. And in person with
We
each other.
are in person.
I love that.
We love this.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
In community.
I know what we're talking about today. Here we are.
Oh, man.
Live and in person.
But I'm like, I don't always like jumping straight into the topic.
Yeah.
You got anything interesting going on in your life?
Oh boy. I mean, I'm on vacation this week, so that's interesting enough. And a couple of days in Sanibel, so I'm not complaining. Little time on the beach, time for some R&R, time to shut the brain off, and really much needed relaxation. That, that's going on. And then my son's flying right now on the plane. So I get to have both my kids in one place for the weekend and Mother's Day. So I'm really kind of feeling grateful in my heart for that right now. I could choke up, but I'm not going to, I think.
Choking up's allowed.
It is, right?
Yes.
I know you understand.
I had a choke up moment this morning. Yeah. So, I go to a women's networking. We meet twice a month, and it's more than just networking. Like, we're actually speaking about wealth issues and like the energetics of wealth and the psychology of wealth and all of that. So it is a beautiful community. Net worth, it's called, instead of network, net worth. But she said something this morning to me today that, she didn't just say it to me, to the group, but talking about loss and how that affects you going forward. And she said, usually that loss is a loss that you have sometime before the age of 7. And I sat there for a minute and I was just like, loss before the age of 7? Like, my grandparents were older than that when they passed away. And obviously my mom was way older than that when she passed away. And I don't think we had any pets before that to think about. And then I was like thinking, like, what loss did I have? And I realized, like, my first friend, my first bestie, we lived in this, I'll call it a duplex for lack of knowing what else to call it, home. We lived in the upstairs apartment. Her family lived in the downstairs apartment. And then when my parents bought a house, we moved we bought this house a few miles away from there. And they actually ended up moving into a house on the same block across the street. So we were still like totally close together. But then her family moved out to the country right before we started school, before kindergarten started. And I was like, here, my ride or die, my bestie is like gone. And so even though our families stayed in touch, like I had that moment where I was like, oh, I was abandoned. Yeah. I had to go through school and tough it out myself. But I had that recognition of like, there was a big loss for me before the age of 7. And so now I'm actually like, I haven't had the time yet, but I'm going to reach out to Paula. Hi, Paula. I don't know if you ever listened to the show, but you should. And, but I'm going to reach out to her and like, just like, it might be affecting her too. And she doesn't even know it. So that's like one of those, and that's part of the work that I do too, is finding out people's hidden wounds, traumas, etc., that are living in our being and fishing them out so that they no longer hold us back.
I love that.
So that was my morning.
That's a deep morning. Yeah. That's a juicy morning.
It was juicy.
And I feel like that's, I think that's the conversations we kind of tend to have. It's not, even though we like to do the little superficial stuff. Oh, I love your hair, which I did say this today. Look at that hair, right? I loved it. I loved it. And we do these little, the superficial stuff a bit, but it never fails to go deeper. So, when we're in each other's presence, we're going to get to the heart of the matter. If there's vulnerability that needs to be talked about or a feeling that needs to be talked about, I think it's what I love about our community, because we don't just hit the surface. I don't know what to think about that.
Yes. So yeah, community is our topic today,
Yeah.
and showing up. And I don't know if any of you get my newsletter. I talked a little bit about. I did have a breakdown around community a couple weeks ago in the sweat lodge, and I think a lot of it is from the fact that I show up and I have expectations of other people showing up. And I know I talk about it all the time, like release expectations, release the expectations. But when you see so many people talking about, craving connection and craving something more in this life, you have to show up. You can't sit back and wait. Like nobody's going to do it for you. You have to show up. So to the community, because we say this all the time, like you're not meant to do this alone. You are not meant to do this alone. And so you have to create community.
Yes.
And the only way you create community is by showing up. And yes, I am all for honoring yourself. Like if you're really tired or if you're sick or there's multiple things to show up for, like don't run yourself ragged, don't wear yourself out. Like yes, it's okay to rest. But I think about, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been guilty of this in the past where I literally have made myself sick just so I didn't have to show up somewhere I didn't want to show up to, because I had this belief that it's not okay to just say no. I have to have an excuse. So what better excuse than I'm sick, I can't come. So, I'm not talking about like pushing yourself to your limits, running yourself ragged, but we do need to show up for each other. We do need to create these communities and put a lot of effort into it. So show up, damn it.
And it's true. You do put a lot of effort into it, and I see it when I do show up. And it's not every time that I show up, for sure. But I love everything that you're able to do from this space. I mean, right now we're right across from the sanctuary where a lot of things happen, and then of course Sweat Lodge property, which is our backyard. And every time I show up, I'm gifted with the presence of who is there, because they all are present. And it is a unique community in that way. It's not just, okay, we're just showing up, but we're kind of half-assing it, if you will. We're there, we're minded somewhere else. No, we show up, we're present, because it's like I used that word juicy earlier. It's like the presence of the people and the souls that show up, they're there for each other in a very committed way. I mean, if you're going to show up, you're going to, all of you, your mind, your body, your spirit. And we do pray together. We do have conversations that sometimes hit the vulnerable spots. We do have, a leaning on or a crying on a shoulder, so to speak. Some of us just like to be alone and cry. I get that. But we're not the type of people to say in a group and in a circle, if somebody starts being emotional, crying, good. It's a very safe, welcoming place to be, which I like. And that's what you were saying about Sweat Lodge and what happened a couple of weeks ago, right? We can cry. We can scream, we can cry, we can do whatever we need to do. And we are holding space for that person to go through it, because, I think the safety and the space that is there is unique. And that's what I want to say. And if you're longing for that, come see what we're all about. If it's scary to you, or you're afraid, or you're not sure, or you're hesitant because how will you be received? Well, I know people can sit in the corner and take a back seat and pull back and not share and express, and that's okay. But the more you put in, the more you get out of it. We're not judging. So however you want to show up, show up. But we're there to whatever extent you need to show up. Yes,
absolutely. And the other beauty of community that I always want to talk about, like, because yes, as a physical therapist, past physical therapist, present healer. Like one-on-one sessions are incredible. They're magical. They're great. And the healing that happens when you step into community is next level.
Yeah.
And makes you, oh, the air and sea show, like they're practicing. You probably can't hear it. It's not coming up on the mic, but
Yeah, we got planes coming overhead now.
but when you show up in community, the amplification that happens because everybody else in the room is, there are no words to describe how special that is. And you know, I do have to say, everyone's been asking, how was Egypt? How was Egypt? And at this point, it feels like Egypt was so long ago, even though it's only like a month ago. But the one thing I have noticed since I came back, because like you can't go to Egypt and not be changed. And I know I was changed. And I know that I energetically am showing up differently, and I'm energetically creating these events, what have you, at a different level. And like, so I've had 3 cacao ceremonies since I've gotten back. And, you know, many of the people that are at these cacao ceremonies have been to prior cacao ceremonies. And each one, it's like, this is different now. This is stronger now. But what, like me sitting back, you know, yes, I'm the leader of the show here. And I'm not here alone. Like everybody in the room has something to contribute. And watching these people just open up and share and hold the space. Like I don't have to hold the space for everybody anymore. The community holds the space for everybody. And that's,
Wow.
but that's something that takes time. That takes people showing up over and over again for that to grow. And, you know, who knows where you are listening to this? You might not be local, and it might not be our community that you can join. But I think it is super important for everybody to find their community, because humans are meant to work in community. And, you know, there's so much out there in the programming of the 3D world that wants us to be afraid of each other, to hate each other, to isolate us from each other, because they know there's power, not just like the physical power in numbers, but the love, the compassion that happens when people come together. And like the more time you spend with other people in a hard space, like you realize we are all one. And the love that comes from that, the compassion that comes from that, the healing that comes from that, the growth that comes from that. Like we need to create community wherever we are. And like if you want to be part of our community, awesome, come join us. And if you're not here or our community doesn't appeal to you, find or create your own community, because we need to be community again.
And I totally agree with you. And I think in the past, just to bring up your, you know, what you're saying about needing and finding. I mean, I searched for a long time, and I feel like there was an evolutionary process to me finding my tribe, because I did, you know, but it's where I am now. It wasn't for a long time where I've been, you know. I tried the Catholic Church. I tried, and it's not even to say I tried it and left. You know, it's okay. I evolved to something different, to something more sovereign in my own divinity. And so some things fit, some things don't. I I think it's a wonderful place. And I also think all the churches can be a very wonderful place. I tried unity, for example. I tried non-denominational churches. I tried science of mind. And, you know, I dabbled and dabbled and dabbled until kind of now here I am circling back to my dear friend Julietta and the other community members who have a different, you know, offering where, yeah, we speak about our divine nature, which I love, and we're kind of like-minded, which is what makes us want to gravitate toward each other and feel comfortable being a tribe, right? But other than that, the like-mindedness, it's the heart space, because some places, some churches or community spaces or tribes, the heart doesn't become the center, and you don't feel that the heart is the centering there, or the connection to people. You don't feel it, and that's okay. And maybe you're just going to experience that and move on to the next place or the next bunch of people, and until you find what suits you and what feels good and what sits with you and who sits with you and what they're saying and how you feel them authentically, in the communication, that's when this is the place for you. This is the people for you. These are the people who feed you. These are the people who know you. These are the people that see you. Like, we can say, I see you, sister. I see you. And which reminds me of Avatar, and I freaking love that movie. And I know you do too. But, like, I see you, because you really want to be known through your community. You want people to know you enough to care about you. I think people, we lost the art of caring.
And I see, especially like here in a bigger city,
Yeah.
I think pre-pandemic, like how much I would go out networking and how shallow it was, and just people exchanging cards, and there wasn't actually any connection there. And it was just empty. So yes, we were busy, we're out with people.
Yes.
Just because you're out with people doesn't mean that you're in community.
Right.
Like there needs to be seeingness and sharing things that matter to you, that have meaning to you. And so, when the pandemic hit and we couldn't network, I was relieved to not have to go out and do that anymore. But then also creating the commitment to creating true community space where connection can happen and we can support each other. Like, yes, you're going out networking to support your business, but unless unless I have true connection with you, why am I going to refer somebody to you if I don't know you, if I don't know your heart, if I don't know your dreams? Like, it gets lost. And and it's almost like networking is just kind of irrelevant and ridiculous. Like, let's work on creating our community and creating people who all love each other and care about each other, and then we will look out for each other and everything's going to be fine. But out there alone, you're not going to make it very far. And
it's a hard place to be isolated. And I know a lot of people maybe feel more comfortable and isolated because they're fearful of being judged. They're fearful of what other people are going to think of them, right? And that's a biggie, I think, for a lot of people is, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything wrong. I don't want people to think I'm weird or strange, which, by the way, we won't, because we're
weird and strange.
We're weird and strange. So it's all good.
I'm like, who wants to be normal? It's so boring and it's so
underrated.
And that's part of the, this conversation has come up several times already this week, that so many people out there don't even know who they actually are because they're too busy trying to be what they've been programmed to be, trying to fit in, trying to perform.
Yes.
And like, you're in your community when you can fully be yourself. And the only way to learn who you truly are is to allow yourself that and start to play with it and see. But if you're shooting, doing all the things you're supposed to do, no, it doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve humanity. And I think one of the most beautiful things about both the Sweat Lodge community and the ministry community here is the diversity.
Yes.
Like, we have all age ranges, socioeconomic ranges, ethnicities, religion. Like, it's such a diverse community, and the beauty is like everybody just loves everybody. Like the more, and even I see people like in the beginning, they might have shown a little piece who they were, they were like dipping their toe in the water and seeing like, is it safe for me to come out and play? And, now over the 2.5 years, like they're out there expressing their full selves, and everybody is embracing everybody, and to see people blossom like that. And so, like, I encourage you, if you're not in our community, if you're in a different, because sometimes that's like, it can get clicky. Like, sometimes I look at adults like, are you still in high school? Like the way that they're, the clicky way that they're behaving, like, oh my God, did you see what they were wearing? Like, oh my God, can you believe what they said? Like, A, that's not very community, but like B, I encourage you to be the source of being accepting of diversity, of differentness, and for allowing people to be their authentic selves and express that. And so we can embrace that. I'm like, I don't want to live in a world that's beige.
No. Oh, no.
I want all kinds of colors and textures and all the things.
Yes. It's one of the things I like about, Fort Lauderdale is eclectic, and there's all kinds of shapes, sizes, cultural differences, and it's great. I've always loved that. And you're right. I don't want beige. We got a lot of color in here. No matter where you look, in both of our homes and spaces, it's color. But it's more interesting. It's more alive. It's more vibrant. And I want to say about, you mentioned something earlier about being supported in the community, and I want to say from my own personal experience, I was supported, and so much so in a way that has transformed me. I was not, and she's going to laugh because she's made a part of it, right? I was kind of holding back. I was kind of squashing down, stepping down some things, and I had some wounds in the way. But when I started to even voice what I needed to and speak my truth, and then I started to sing, she just kind of fanned a flame, and I just want to talk about blossoming. And those are the things that become miraculous, kind of.
It with you by yourself.
No, that's the whole point, is that I just had a little piece of it, wanting to experiment with my voice, and the community made it possible. They held space. They energetically said, go for it, and let's do it. Let's hear you. Let's all listen. And it was,
if you haven't heard this voice, like, you need to find a way, because it's special.
I love you. But see, it's that kind of stuff that, we're unique and special, and it is just such a warm, welcoming place of all sorts of gifts that we have yet to discover and uncover.
But, ultimately, I think the most important message here, community is important, but community only happens when you show up. Like, if you're sitting around waiting, if you're waiting for someone to come and take your hand, you might be waiting your whole life. And so, to find your community, to find your space, to find your tribe, like, you need to step outside of your comfort zone. You need to initiate. And, yes, it could be baby steps. It could be baby steps. There are plenty of people. One thing, the last Cacao ceremony, it was a full room this time, and there were some new people, and I get it. When you're new, like, you're definitely a little nervous, and so there were 3 people in the room that were hanging quiet, and we use a talking stick, so whoever's holding the talking stick's talking, whoever's not is listening. But there were a few people who were holding back and not necessarily ready to take the talking stick. But by the end of the evening, they all took the talking stick. And partially because other people didn't. So they had this, someone showing them, like, see, it's not that difficult to do.
Yeah.
And then also seeing that it didn't matter how weird the person was expressing, like everybody was there holding the space for it, like tuned in to them. And I think that is such a powerful gift
Yes.
to be heard, to be seen.
Yes.
And so when they saw that others weren't being criticized for being weird, no one was judging anybody, that it was safe, it was like, okay, let me try.
Yes.
And then they shared. And it was like some of those moments were the most profound, you know, like they thought they were gonna come and just sit in the back and be quiet.
Yeah.
And then when they did share, like everything shifted.
Yeah.
And but it starts with you. Like community doesn't happen waiting for someone else to bring you in. And someone might bring you into the wrong community, the community that's not your community. But humans need community. Humans need it.
Yeah.
And it's the only, you know, like when you look out at the world the way it is right now, I mean, occasionally I find people that think that everything's fine. I don't know. It doesn't feel so fine. Like my space, like my immediate space is fine.
Yes.
But when I look out there,
Yeah.
I don't see everything fine.
No.
And I would like to see a world that's fine. And that only happens with human connection.
That's true.
And human connection makes community. And right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it isn't fine. That's true. And we do create our own little spaces, you know, the way we can, right? We want, I mean, from my perspective, I want peace. I want love. I want friendship. I want, you know, a lot of different, what's that?
Unity.
Unity. I mean, she knows that's my favorite word ever. But I want that. I want that because I know, and let me say this experientially, I know what it feels like to have that mindset of unity. That community creates it. When you can look at the other as part of you, you have a different lens you're looking through. You have that compassionate lens you're looking through. You can say to yourself, well, from their perspective, or can I put myself in their shoes? Because yes, we've all done everything and we've been everyone and we have experienced a lot of what other people have experienced. And when we can connect with that understanding, we find ourselves loving the other without judgment, loving the other without, you know, having that blockade or that guardedness, you know, did I just make up a word? I don't even know if guardedness is one, but being guarded is one of the things that is an obstacle when you're trying to connect. So if I see Julietta here, for example, I mean, I look at her and I see her, not just her exterior. I don't. I mean, I see her being, I see her spirit, I see who she is, I look into her eyes. It is an intimate connection that we can share and energetically as well that, you know, we focus on because that's the meaning and purpose of life. That's the depth and the intimacy that I love.
Well, and I think you said something really important there too. It's like we've been trained to focus on the exterior.
Yeah.
What do you look like? What are you wearing? What kind of car do you drive?
Right.
What kind of watch are you wearing? And none of those things matter at all.
No.
So, you know, when you get yourself in your real community, yes, you see beyond the exterior and you get to see the depths of people and you get to see yourself in everyone. And that happens with time, with connection. And so, you know, even I see this all the time, like people will show up and they'll say how much they loved it, but then they disappear. And like
sucked back into their lives.
back out into that 3D programming, but it's not real. And so, you know, if you're finding yourself a community, like you can't just show up once, like you got to keep showing up. And once you realize like what the community brings to you, then you're going to want to show up. Like you won't even have to make the effort anymore. You're going to be like, when is the next time that we're getting together? But you have to give it time to develop.
Consistency is key. Just for a while, consistency is key, right? Because if you know, the one time it doesn't work, and we've seen that. We've seen people show up once and then that's it, and, there they go. And but yet, how meaningful the time spent here with us was. I mean, you do get that feedback, don't you? We love to all the time. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. So my message is stop waiting, show up, because you're showing up for yourself and you're showing up for others, because we are in this together and we can't do it without you. So whether you show up in our group, you show up in some other group, it doesn't matter, but find community. Find community in your life. All right. Therese has to go to the airport to get her son. So we're cutting this episode a little bit short, but I think that's okay. And we'd love to hear about your communities and what community means for you and how it's supported you. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Have a magical day and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.